Picture this. It's 6:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. Your phone starts ringing with an emergency alert. Ballistic missile threat inbound. Seek shelter immediately. This is not a drill. You have exactly 4 minutes and 23 seconds from missile launch to impact. Not 15 minutes like Cold War-era ICBMs. Not 8 minutes like submarine-launched missiles. Less than 5 minutes to say goodbye to your family, find shelter, and hope your government's missile defense systems work flawlessly. This is no longer just a thought experiment. This is the new reality of hypersonic weapons, missiles traveling at 5 times the speed of sound, maneuvering unpredictably, and reaching their targets with almost no warning. And here's what should unsettle you: Russia has them. China has them. North Korea is testing them. Iran is developing them. So what about America's multi-billion-dollar missile defense system? It was designed to stop Cold War-era missiles. On October 4, 2023, Russia's Kinzhal hypersonic missile struck a target in Ukraine. Its speed and precision rendered NATO defense calculations ineffective overnight. The same technology is within range of American soil, and Vladimir Putin has clearly stated he is willing to use it. So ask yourself, when weapons move faster than decision-making, when defense systems cannot track targets moving at 15,000 miles per hour, and when the next war could be over before anyone realizes it, are you ready for a world where nuclear war happens at hypersonic speed? Welcome to the Crisis Zone. Today, we examine a threat that defense experts call the most dangerous military development since nuclear weapons. Because understanding hypersonic missiles is not just about military technology. It's about surviving in a war where human reaction time is too slow. What hypersonic really means. Let's start with physics to understand the threat. Because to grasp how these weapons change everything, you first need to understand the laws of physics. Hypersonic means 5 times the speed of sound, around 3,800 miles per hour at sea level. But these weapons can exceed 15,000 miles per hour at much higher altitudes. Think of it this way. A hypersonic missile launched from Russia can reach Washington, D.C. in under 15 minutes. From China to Los Angeles? About 20 minutes. But speed is only part of the story. Traditional ballistic missiles follow predictable parabolic trajectories. They go up, then down, and radar systems can calculate exactly where they will land. Hypersonic glide vehicles are different. They bounce like stones through the upper atmosphere, changing direction, altitude, and speed throughout their flight. According to the Congressional Research Service and Pentagon briefings, this maneuverability makes existing missile defense systems nearly useless. Aegis, THAAD, and ground-based mid-course defense were designed to intercept targets, following known physical laws. If targets can twist and turn at 15,000 miles per hour, those calculations fail. There are 2 types of hypersonic weapons. Hypersonic cruise missiles, powered by air-breathing engines, fly at lower altitudes, and are hard to detect by satellite-based warning systems. Hypersonic glide vehicles, launched by ballistic missiles, then glide through the atmosphere, combining ballistic missile speed with the unpredictability of cruise missiles. Imagine, you have only 5 minutes to determine whether radar signatures are real or false, confirm launch sites, communicate with allies, authorize retaliation, and execute nuclear response procedures. The harsh truth, which defense officials privately acknowledge but rarely tell the public, is this: hypersonic weapons do not just threaten American cities. They completely undermine nuclear deterrence, because deterrence relies on rational decisions, and rational decisions require time. Hypersonic weapons leave no time. The global hypersonic arms race. Now let's see who actually has these weapons, because the threat is no longer theoretical, it exists and is growing. Russia leads with operational systems. The Kinzhal, launched from MiG-31 aircraft, has a 1,200-mile range and has been used in Ukraine. The Mach 9 Zircon anti-ship missile threatens aircraft carriers, the backbone of American naval power. The Avangard glide vehicle is mounted on ICBMs, carries nuclear warheads, and can maneuver around missile defenses. Putin has placed Russia's hypersonic advantage at the center of his military strategy. In March 2018, addressing the Federal Assembly, he declared these weapons make NATO missile defenses completely useless, and that Russia could strike any target worldwide within minutes. China, however, has a potentially more dangerous program. The DFCF glide vehicle has been operational since 2019 and can carry conventional or nuclear warheads over intercontinental distances. The fractional orbital bombardment system tested in July 2021 can orbit the Earth to strike targets, completely bypassing conventional warning systems. This test completely surprised U.S. intelligence, and was called very concerning by former Vice Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff General John Hyden. The U.S. has no equivalent capability. China's program is built not for deterrence but for preemptive strike advantage. While Russia uses these weapons as a symbol of power, China integrates them into strategies to defeat American forces in the Pacific quickly and decisively. North Korea joined the hypersonic race in 2021 with the Hwasong-8. Less advanced than Russian or Chinese systems, the technology is spreading to smaller nuclear powers. Kim Jong-un has clearly stated that hypersonic weapons are designed to neutralize U.S. missile defenses. Iran claimed to test the hypersonic missile in 2022, though Western intelligence questions its capabilities. Still, Iran's cooperation with Russia suggests today's limitations may not exist tomorrow. America's defense gap. Let's be honest about America's defense against hypersonic weapons. We can't. Multiple Government Accountability Office reports indicate it may take years, even decades, to acquire these capabilities. The problem starts with detection. America's missile warning architecture was built to detect ballistic missiles at launch, because rocket motors create large infrared signatures. Hypersonic glide vehicles bypass this stage entirely. They are launched like conventional rockets, then glide through the atmosphere with minimal heat signature. Current satellite systems are not designed to continuously track targets moving at extremely high speeds with unpredictable maneuvers, making hypersonic detection difficult. The space-based infrared system can sometimes detect hypersonic missiles, but current satellite coverage is insufficient for continuous tracking. Ground-based radars are worse. Traditional radars scan the sky periodically and can miss fast-moving targets between sweeps. By the time radar operators spot a hypersonic missile, only minutes remain before impact. The Pentagon has acknowledged this in both classified and unclassified assessments. In testimony before Congress in 2023, Missile Defense Agency Director Vice Admiral John Hill stated that current systems have limited capability against hypersonic threats, and new architectures will not be operational until the late 2020s at the earliest. Even if detection works, interception is nearly impossible. The Aegis system launches interceptor missiles based on predicted target trajectories. If targets maneuver at will, predictions are purely chance. Patriot systems face similar issues. They are designed to defend fixed areas, not track maneuvering missiles over thousands of miles. The Pentagon's proposed solutions highlight the problem's scale. The Hypersonic and Ballistic Tracking Space Sensor Program plans to deploy hundreds of satellites in low Earth orbit for continuous tracking. The Glide Phase Interceptor Program develops specialized new missiles to hit hypersonic targets. Total cost? $40 billion for initial capabilities, potentially hundreds of billions more for full deployment. Even then, contractors estimate these systems achieve only 50 to 70% success under ideal conditions. The real danger, developing and deploying defenses, takes decades. Aggressor hypersonic weapons are already operational. This gap, between current threats and future defenses, creates the most vulnerable period for American cities. In military terms, this is called the hypersonic gap, and it's not theoretical. Every day Russia, China, and other adversaries possess hypersonic weapons. American security depends entirely on enemy restraint. Real attack scenarios. Let's walk through two scenarios of how hypersonic weapons could be used against America. This is not Hollywood fiction, but operational plans analyzed in classified war games. Scenario 1: Decapitation Strike. 3:17 Eastern Time. Chinese submarines launch DFCF hypersonic glide vehicles from 800 miles off the coast of California. Targets: Washington, D.C., Pentagon, NORAD, and Strategic Command Centers. Flight time: 12 minutes. Warning between detection and impact: 6 minutes, even if satellites detect launch immediately. In 6 minutes, you must wake the president, verify the threat, communicate with military commanders, authorize retaliation, and execute nuclear response procedures. The National Command Authority has drilled nuclear responses hundreds of times, but never with such a short timeline. Even if Air Force One engines start, the weapons would already have hit their targets. Command structures would be severed in minutes. Surviving leaders must make nuclear decisions without knowing if communication networks, early warning systems, or command centers still exist. This scenario does not require nuclear warheads. Conventional hypersonic strikes on main command nodes can paralyze the U.S. decision-making apparatus at the moment it's most needed. Follow-up attacks, such as a conventional invasion of Taiwan or nuclear strikes on U.S. cities, encounter a paralyzed response. Scenario 2: Demonstration attack. North Korea launches a single hypersonic missile at a sparsely populated area in Alaska or Hawaii. Purpose: not casualties, but to show that U.S. missile defenses are ineffective and that American soil is vulnerable. The psychological impact is immediate and global. If the U.S. cannot defend remote areas against a small power like North Korea, how could it defend major cities against Russia or China? Can allies trust it? Financial markets panic. The dollar's status as a reserve currency comes under pressure. NATO allies question U.S. security guarantees. China sees opportunities for aggressive moves in Taiwan or the South China Sea. Even if the demonstration kills no one, it kills the perception of American invincibility. Moreover, it pressures the U.S. to respond militarily, which increases the risk of full nuclear escalation. How do you respond proportionally if the attack's purpose was merely to humiliate? Impact on everyday American life. The hypersonic threat changes daily life, even if these weapons are never used. 1. Psychological impact. Americans have lived with nuclear weapons for 80 years, but always assumed warnings and defense systems provide some protection. Hypersonic weapons remove that buffer. For the first time since 1812, Americans must accept that enemy weapons could strike the continent with almost no warning. 2. Economic consequences. Defense spending shifts to hypersonic systems, already $40 billion and rising. Where does that money come from? Other defense priorities, domestic programs, or additional debt for future generations. Every $1 billion spent is money taken from infrastructure, education, health care, or other priorities. The hypersonic arms race forces America to choose between social investment and physical survival. 3. Strategic effects. Hypersonic weapons compress decision times so much that human judgment is almost impossible. This pressures automation of nuclear responses, letting computers determine when and how to strike. Automatic systems reduce human error but increase the risk of accidents. The hypersonic timeline forces a choice between human wisdom and electronic speed. 4. Effect on allies. U.S. security guarantees become less reliable if America cannot defend itself. Why should European allies trust the U.S. nuclear umbrella if Russian hypersonic weapons can neutralize U.S. command structures? Extended deterrence depends on America's survival and decision-making capacity. Hypersonic weapons threaten that and could unravel alliances that have maintained global stability for decades. Planners' greatest concern: hypersonic threats could force the U.S. into a launch on warning, nuclear posture, firing weapons based on attack indicators without verification. This reduces the risk of a successful first strike but dramatically increases the risk of accidents. When nuclear weapons must be used in minutes, the margin for error is almost zero. False alarms, technical failures, or misinterpreted drills could trigger nuclear war mechanically. What you can do. This is not about building bunkers or preparing for nuclear winter. This is practical survival preparation in a hypersonic era where warning time is measured in minutes. Understand your local risk profile. Use FEMA mapping tools to identify nearby military bases, government facilities, ports, airports, and critical infrastructure. Live within 20 miles of any of these? Then prepare differently. Prepare for ultra-short warning scenarios. Traditional disaster prep assumes hours or days. Hypersonic scenarios require grab and go. Prep in under 5 minutes. Install emergency alert apps. Use the FEMA app and set alerts to override. Do not disturb. Keep emergency supplies accessible. 1 gallon of water per person, energy bars, first aid kit, battery-powered radio, flashlight, and cash. Store them somewhere you can reach quickly, not in a distant basement or garage. Set up communication plans. Establish family meeting points without relying on electronic networks. Have an out-of-town contact. Maintain financial resilience. Keep cash in case electronic payments fail. Hold physical assets, precious metals, stockpiled food, essential supplies. Monitor hypersonic developments, Department of Defense briefings, congressional testimonies, NGO reports provide accurate information from official sources. Looking ahead, the hypersonic era. Fact: the hypersonic era isn't coming, it's already here. Russia currently has operational systems targeting American cities. China is developing hypersonic capabilities faster than America can build defenses. The spread to smaller nuclear powers will accelerate, not slow down. Americans cannot eliminate this threat, but they can understand it, prepare for it, and demand that their leaders take it seriously. Because in a war that moves at hypersonic speed, the difference between survival and disaster is measured not in hours, but in the decisions made today. Share your thoughts in the comments, because your perspective can help others see the bigger picture.